Answers are simply a way to get to the next questions. Hey, I'm Nivya and I hope you're doing good. Today I'm here to let you guys know why you should read the book Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. Matthew Walker is a scientist and a professor in neuroscience and psychology. He took 20 years to complete this research of what exactly is sleep and also to complete this book henceforth. So to start with, I've heard a lot of people saying that I've not slept since a month or more because of the extra work that I do. I just extend my working hours and then sit late and work. Similarly, I've heard people saying that they sit late and then watch series and then wake up early and then start their work. And that too they say as if it is so cool. I mean, it's great that, I didn't sleep. That's the way they basically sound. But it is not cool, guys. It's really not cool. As Matthew has mentioned in the book, sleeping is not an absence of wakefulness. It is far beyond that. In fact, sleeping less than 6 to 7 hours on a regular basis increases the risk of cancer, increases the chance of Alzheimer's disease, demolishes immune system, increases blood pressure, and beyond all that, the lifespan is being shortened. And this is not being said just for the sake of it. Rather, there is proof related to the same statements out of studies and experiments being done. Also, as per the statistics in US, every hour one person at least dies out of fatigue error in traffic, which happens due to the deprive of sleep. And hence you can just understand how many lives would be in danger in India because the population is definitely way too higher than in US. The entire book is divided into 4 parts. The first part is about what is sleep. It speaks about jet lag and how other living creatures sleep, or if they sleep, how many hours they sleep, and all of that. While the first chapter speaks about what is sleep, the second chapter speaks about why sleep. I mean, why we need to sleep and also the drawbacks of not sleeping. The third chapter speaks about dreams, about why we dream and how it all happens. While the fourth chapter is about the modern society, how they deal with sleep. These 4 chapters are independent of each other, and hence go ahead and read any chapters, whichever you feel like. It's really not important that you read the first chapter to get to the other one. What I really liked about this book is that there are a lot of points which were fresh to me. Similarly, when you pick up this book and read, you will also come across a lot of points which are very new for you regarding sleep. After all, Matthew Walker has done a lot of research prior to writing this book about sleep. A lot of points fascinated me, out of which I shall share with you guys 5 to 6 points, and for the rest, go ahead and read this book. The first point that amazed me was to know about sleep before birth. That is the sleeping pattern of a fetus, developing fetus in the womb of a mother. How the co-occurring small kicks of a fetus is dependent to the sleep of the fetus. The author clearly mentions how the sleep of a fetus is being affected when the expecting or the pregnant mother consumes alcohol. Similarly, for a newborn child of a heavy drinking mother, how the sleep of the baby is getting affected due to drinking the alcohol breast milk. The next point is about somnambulism. You guys might be aware of this, which is basically movement while sleeping. So people who suffer from somnambulism, they might go ahead and text while they are sleeping, or they might eat while sleeping, they might run or walk while sleeping. So it's basically a movement that happens while they're actually sleeping. The extent to which it can go worse is when they do a homicide while sleeping, that is, they probably kill themselves or others while sleeping. The author has mentioned a true story about a person named Kenneth Parks, and this happened in 1987, to let us understand about the extent to which insomnia or somnambulism can go up to. So what happened here to Kenneth Parks is that he was suffering from insomnia because he was jobless, and he was emotionally unstable because he was having high debts as well. And one day at around 1 to 1:30 a.m., he went to his own in-laws' house, and that too by driving 14 miles in his own car while sleeping. And then he went to their kitchen, took a knife, and then went upstairs and then killed his own mother-in-law and attacked his father-in-law. His mother-in-law died, but thankfully his father-in-law was just injured and did not die. And all this happened in sleep. Now he came back, he was driving back, and that's when he woke up. And then he understood that he has killed someone because he could see that there is a lot of blood in his hands, and so he straight away went to police station and mentioned that I think I killed someone. So this is the extent to which insomnia can actually go to. The main point here is that a person who suffers from insomnia, he or she should definitely know the cause of it. It could be external, which could be either light, sound, etc., which can be controlled because you can just, close the curtains or turn off the light, which is like something that you can really control even without the help of a doctor. But the second one is internal issues, that is probably, emotional anxiety or emotional worry. And for this, you should definitely consult a sleep certified doctor itself. Do not go and consume sleeping pills. The author has clearly mentioned, go ahead and only consult a sleep certified doctor itself. Do not go and consult a normal doctor. Another point which the author has emphasized is that many people often confuse between the sleep time, that is the actual sleep time, and the sleep opportunity time. That is, a person might come and tell that I slept very well yesterday, like for 9 hours, but probably he or she just slept for around 7 hours, because 2 hours he might be awake. He must be just waiting for sleeping. He would have gone to bed but have not gone to sleep yet. So it's very important that you have a proper sleep and not just being on bed. That's not how it works. Also, to get a proper sleep, two very important measures are, one, exercise, and the other one is diet. So if you do these both very well in a controlled manner, it really helps you get a very good healthy sleep. Also, Matthew Walker has provided a few good points that can really help, especially elders, to get a very good sleep. For example, specifically for elders, they should go outside and do outdoor exercises in the morning by wearing sunglasses, so that they don't have direct exposure to the sunlight in the morning to their eye. Okay, now they should, in the late afternoon, again go outside and get exposed to sunlight, now this time without wearing sunglasses. But you can probably wear a hat to prevent sunlight to hit you directly, but your eyes should be exposed to sunlight. And why this is done is to push the early rise schedule and to delay the evening release of melatonin. Another one point which he has mentioned is to take a hot water bath just before sleeping, because the temperature is also kind of proportional to sleep, and that is clearly mentioned in one chapter in this book. The last point which I'm going to share with you guys, which I was really fascinated to know about, is regarding the snoozing function in alarm, how badly it affects our health because of the repeated shocks that it gives. In fact, if you can avoid alarms, that is the best way to improve your health, is what is being quoted by Matthew Walker. And for that, what you can do is go to your bed almost during the same time every day, so that you don't need an alarm to wake up. So these are few points which I really liked and the highlights of this book, in fact. But there are a lot of other points in this book which you should definitely read, and for that, go ahead and pick this book up. Okay, so this is Navya signing off. If you've liked this video, please do subscribe to my channel and also hit the like button there. Until we meet next time, bye, take care, happy reading.